Hey guys, Chuck Quinton here, Rotary Swing resident mad scientist, and I'm cut my trusty little flail device here that I used in one of the other videos on how your body should be always moving in the opposite direction that the club is traveling. And now I want to help you understand the second purpose of swing. So that's purpose number one. Your body should always be moving in the opposite direction. Your second problem is, or your second purpose is, how do you release the club? Now I've talked about the release quite a bit, and in the clinics that we do, we get really in depth on releasing the club. But specifically, I want you to think about it for a second. What does it mean to release the club? What does it mean to release anything? Well, to release something means to let go of it, to physically let go of it. Now, of course, unless you want to tag your buddies or throw a club 50 yards down the fairway, unless you're really upset, we don't really need to actually physically let go of it. But the purpose or the concept of that is really key to helping you understand how to get maximum club head speed with a minimum amount of effort, which is what Rotary Swing Tour is all about. So I want you to understand a couple things about how we get that club to release and where we release from, which that's going to be a really key spot, a key thing to think about in just a second. So where do we release from? Well, the key is that you need to do the opposite of probably what you're doing right now. Every single student just about that we see coming into our golf academy here at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando is driving their body from their trailing side, their pushing side, through the ball, through the impact area to try and move the club fast. And this is done for a simple reason, two simple reasons. One, most everybody that plays golf is playing golf right-handed. They're naturally right-handed, playing golf from the left side of the ball. And of course, if you've watched my other videos on why golf is so hard and how to fix it, is when you're doing it from this side, lots of bad things are going to happen. And of course, being naturally right-hand dominant, it's going to be a tendency to want to use that side. So that's the first thing that we've got to start overcoming, is that the last thing on earth you'd ever want to do is move, as I mentioned in the last video about moving in the opposite direction of the club, is moving in the same direction of the club. So if you take my little flail device here and I try to move this ball out, imagining there's a golf ball here, and I try and move it by moving in the same direction, it doesn't work very well. I'm always moving in the opposite direction. So to do that, my body's got to be rotating this way. Now, when I get my club to actually release, what do my arms actually do? And this is where we get back into the release point. We want to physically throw the club head at the ball. The simplest way to explain the golf swing is that you are throwing the club head at the ball. Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not telling you to actively throw your right arm at it. You can do that once everything else is working correctly and help speed things up, but you still got to release it at the bottom rather than push against the shaft through the hitting area. And how do you know if you're pushing against the shaft? Well, there's a bunch of things you can see. You'll see golfers with their right side really open, their shoulders spinning open through the hitting area and looking really jammed up, and this trailing arm's really bent. And then you can also look at your forefinger on the trailing hand, and if you see that it's leaned like this against the shaft and twisting, trying to help square the club face, you know that you're pushing from that dominant side. You don't want to do that. That's just going to slow it down. What you want to do, the fastest way to get something to move is to throw it, to release it. So what you want to start thinking about in your golf swing to get true maximum speed is, as you're coming down, I'm going to move from the lead side, not the right side, because if I move from this trailing side, it's going to open my shoulders right away. I'm moving from my lead side, my shoulders can stay shut. And now from here, as I straighten my leg and open my hips up a little bit, all I've got to do now is throw the club head at the ball. Now you'll notice my shoulders and my arms and my body not doing very much, but the ball on the end of my string here is moving really fast. I don't have to move very fast to get the club head to move very fast if I throw the club head effectively at the ball. That is your job in the golf swing. Not to push it through and move really slow and move your body really aggressive and trying to move as fast as you can to try and get it to move fast. You'll never beat somebody who's throwing something to get it to accelerate. So you want to throw and release it coming to the hitting area. Now this little string here is a great way to think about it. Now obviously the shaft in your golf club is actually relatively quite stiff. It doesn't bend around like this thing does or like a rubber hose. But if you pretended and you imagined that this is what your golf shaft was like, you would decide pretty quickly that turning your chest through, like a lot of the golf commentators on TV tell you to keep turning your chest through the target, doing that, well, what would happen to this? It would never straighten up. It wouldn't release until too late. To get this to move very, very fast, you want to stop turning at some point, and then let the levers that you have in your swing, which are going to be all these angles that you're creating in your arms and your wrists, let those release. When you let those release, notice I said let, when you let these release, they reach maximum speed. You're releasing all of this stored up energy, rather than continuing to turn through and have all of these levers that never get a chance to release. You want to throw them at the ball, and that is the key to creating clubhead speed. So you have two main jobs in the swing apart from creating and preserving, maintaining lag and releasing lag. You want to always be moving in the opposite direction that the club is going, and you want to throw effectively the club head at the ball. And that is what Rotary Swing is going to teach you when you follow our step-by-step series on how to swing properly, the way your body was designed to move efficiently, powerfully, and safely throughout the golf swing.